Jessica Eye versus Cynthia Calvillo is set for the main event of UFC Fight Night 172 in the Apex Center, Vegas. Eye versus Calvillo. I have no idea why this is a main event, but let's push that to the side. We'll save the second half of this video for completely tearing to shreds the decision to make this a main event. But first of all, let's talk about the fight overall. Don't know why Cynthia Calvillo has been given this much of a jump up in the flyweight division, even though she does actually hold a win over Caitlin Chukagian. She holds that win a very long time ago, a few years ago, in the strawweight division, which kind of loses a bit of relevancy when you switch divisions. Even still, I kind of can understand why they have made this matchup. I would not have made this matchup if I were the UFC, but then again, there is no crowd in the arena. You see, this is where we go in here. There's no crowd in attendance, which means there's no one to boo these two girls out of the arena throwing their drinks at them after this is all said and done, because I feel like this is going to be a big win from Jessica Eye in a boring 5-round decision where Jessica Eye keeps it standing with a decent enough takedown defense and just completely outstrikes Cynthia Calvillo on the feet, maybe outlanding her by 5 strikes every round. I don't see a way Cynthia Calvillo wins this, and honestly, I doubled down on my decision that Jessica Eye would win when I saw the odds for this fight, because I saw the odds and I thought to myself, alright, Cynthia Calvillo is going to be a huge underdog, but we'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll change my mind. Let me see these odds. I clicked on the odds. Cynthia Calvillo is even Stevens. Jessica Eye is barely a favourite. Those are really, really, really good odds. I'm going to pick Jessica Eye to win this fight. She's got better boxing. Maybe the kicks of Cynthia Calvillo could come into effect, but even then, her kicks aren't even that good. I mean, there's not really much to say about Cynthia Calvillo. She's burst on the scene. She's clearly been favoritized by the company. She's had a lot of lackluster performances in the UFC. She's had a lot of close decisions in the UFC as well. I just feel as though she's going to lose to Jessica Eye. Jessica Eye is not some phenom in the flyweight division, but she's a bigger girl naturally. She's got a reach advantage as well, which in women's MMA seems to have way more of an effect than in men's MMA. Any physical advantages they can have seem to really help them in these situations, even against a girl that Jessica Eye has a reach disadvantage against. In Caitlin Chukagian, she managed to do well, outstruck her every single round. Jessica Eye is no slouch and has great takedown defense, other than against Valentina Shevchenko, because let's face it, Joanna Jędrzejczyk had great takedown defense. Then she fought Valentina Shevchenko. I don't think there's any harm done with Jessica Eye losing to Valentina Shevchenko. I mean, Valentina is the dominant queen of that division. However, Jessica Eye does have some good wins on her resume. She has a last win against Viviane Araújo. To be honest with you, if this was Jessica Eye coming off the KO loss to Shevchenko, I actually maybe could be swayed. But seeing as Jessica Eye got back in there with a decent enough opponent in Viviane Araújo, who's no slouch, got the win over her very impressively, completely outstruck her every single round at UFC 245, stayed active. She's returning now after 6 months. She's had some time off since the KO. She's got herself a win in the meantime. I just think with the momentum back under her and her not coming off this massive adrenaline dump after a loss to Valentina Shevchenko, I feel as though Jessica Eye is going to put this one together and get a decent enough win over 5 rounds, to be honest with you. I think Cynthia Calvillo isn't that good, to be honest. She hasn't got great takedowns, and she doesn't have the great takedown stats either. Although she does get girls to the ground, she doesn't seem to be able to finish them there, and Jessica Eye is a veteran who's been put in various positions before in fights and has been able to scramble out of them. She rarely gets finished as well. She rarely gets submitted. In fact, I don't even remember a time in Jessica Eye's career when she did get submitted, to be honest with you. Not a single time in the UFC has Jessica Eye been submitted, and she's had some really good wins. I know the win over Caitlin Chukagian could validify Cynthia Calvillo's shot at the belt in this title elimination bout, potentially at flyweight. I don't feel as though this should be a title elimination bout, however. I feel as though what they should do here is have the winner of this bout maybe take on the winner of, Joanne Calderwood's getting a fucking title shot. This division is a mess. What's her name? Caitlin Chukagian. Caitlin Chukagian take on another contender. I don't really care who it is. Then we'll maybe sort out some kind of situation because Chukagian's now coming off a big win. I know why they're doing this. They're Hail Marying Cynthia Calvillo to the top of the flyweight rankings in the hopes that she pulls off the upset because, by the way, and I saw this on the schedule, Cynthia Calvillo is 32 years of age. She's not young, so I know that the UFC is looking at this fight and thinking to themselves, right, we don't have the time before Cynthia Calvillo gets a little bit of granny face syndrome to get her to the top while she's still marketable, okay? They've really got to throw her to the top now. That's not a good look for me. I would like people to be built on if they're going to be a superstar like they're doing with Sean O'Malley. Of course, there's some negatives to that as well because a lot of the hardcore fans turn off of them because they think they're being protected. And then all of a sudden, when they're champion and selling millions of pay-per-views, the hardcore fans come back around again. That's just the cycle of life in the MMA community. But Cynthia Calvillo should have been brought up a little bit slower. I think they should have taken the sign that she had a real tough fight with Marina Rodriguez. I know she had a dominant third round that was 10-8, and that's how she got herself the draw, but she's coming off a draw right now. Marina Rodriguez outstruck her for the first 2 rounds. I know the strawweights are technically better than the flyweights, and the flyweight is the worst female division in the UFC. Well, you know, the featherweight division, I don't even consider that a division. So still, I stick by my point. Flyweight's the worst female division in the UFC because the featherweight women's division isn't even a full division. There we go. The flyweights are the worst in the UFC. I still don't think that Cynthia Calvillo is going to be able to jump up and beat Jessica Eye. I don't think she's going to be able to finish her. And I think Eye's got the takedown defense and the size, because size is going to come into play here massively. Plus, I don't know how long Cynthia Calvillo's known about her being a main event at flyweight. I think this is something that might have been sprung on her last minute. I don't think she's taken the time, known that she's moving up to flyweight, known that she's going to be in the main event against Jessica Eye. Jessica Eye has known that she's facing top contenders. You know, she's known that she's been at flyweight. She's been in shape to be at flyweight. But Cynthia Calvillo, you know, she said she might move up to flyweight. She had some ideas. I don't think she's taken the time to sit back out of the game, build herself up 10 pounds in muscle, get to the flyweight division, become a real flyweight, and be prepared to take on a top contender. I think the UFC's just called her and said, guess what? We're running out of main events. Masvidal and Jones are being sissies. We're going to give you a main event against Jessica Eye at flyweight. And Cynthia Calvillo's gone, hell yeah, that'll get me right towards a title shot. But maybe it's a little bit of a mountain too high to climb, especially because of the odds. I can't get over the odds for this one. But let's talk about the main event in general. The fight is good. The boxing goes to... what the fuck is her name? I've never forgotten the name so much of a main event of a fight night. That should tell you how much I think about this. Jessica Eye. Jesus Christ. Jessica Eye is going to outbox her. She's got pretty crisp boxing. She trains at Ohio with Stipe Miocic a little bit as well. She's at a good gym, a really good gym, with some decent coaches. I know they're going to prepare her well for this one. Cynthia Calvillo is going to be looking to go for the legs quite a bit, I would imagine. But Jessica Eye is going to look to just jab and move and jab. This is going to be so boring. I can't even bring myself to almost make this prediction video. But even still, Jessica Eye is too little of a favourite to bet against. That's kind of what I'm basing this video off of. Okay, because there's not much in terms of skill we can tell right now. We have no idea where Cynthia Calvillo matches up in the flyweight division. The fight between her and Chookagian was very close as well, by the way. Chookagian outstruck her on the feet, and Cynthia Calvillo managed to steal some rounds with some takedowns at the end. That was kind of the only thing that happened. She also had some submission attempts, but if you can't submit Caitlin Chookagian drawn out at strawweight, I don't think you're going to do it to a bigger Jessica Eye, healthy at flyweight, file removed from her KO loss. I just don't see that one happening. I don't know why this is a fucking main event. They could have moved Shane Burgos versus, what's his name? Josh Emmett versus Shane Burgos is the co-main event of the fight card next week. That could have been the main event of this card. Another thing that was said, Aljamain Sterling versus Corey Sandhagen was overshadowed at UFC 250 by Sean O'Malley and Cody Garbrandt. That could have been the main event of this card, and no one would have had a problem with it whatsoever. In fact, I would have enjoyed Sterling versus Sandhagen if it was going to be 5 rounds. That would have made it a way more interesting fight to see them go 5 rounds before a title elimination bout. I feel like every title elimination bout should be for 5 rounds so that we can see how they stack up against a champion who has been 5 rounds before, presumably not in the not in the bantamweight division, obviously. But even still, I like guys going 5 rounds before they get a title shot just to prove something to me. I want to see it out of Zabit, and I have done for a very long time because I'm still not convinced he can go 5 rounds. There's another 2 dislikes from Dagestanis. Jessica Eye's gonna win. I don't see it. I don't see her getting the win. I don't see Cynthia Calvillo getting it. I don't see what the UFC sees in Cynthia Calvillo. Apparently they see the next big champion and the next big thing. I see a mediocre fighter who throws tantrums after clear losses that are quite close and wants to get her own way and has gotten her own way her entire career, and I think it's going to be a bit of a harsh wake-up call. Fighting Jessica Eye, I'm kind of rooting for Cynthia Calvillo because it would be very nice if we could have Cynthia Calvillo win. And here's why I am rooting for Cynthia Calvillo, because when you look at the rankings, Shevchenko's taking on Chookagian next, okay? Chookagian is ranked where in the flyweight division? That fucking division needs to go, swear to God. Anyway, Joanne Calderwood is somehow ranked number 3 in the division. Fuck knows how, she's number 3 in the division somehow. No idea. But she's number 3, she's getting a title shot versus Shevchenko. If Calvillo comes in there and wins against Jessica Eye, she'll have beaten Jessica Eye and she will have held a win over the last person to get a title shot against Shevchenko in Chookagian. That's kind of sellable. What I feel like you should do for now is maybe do Jennifer Maia versus Caitlin Chookagian. Oh, no, this is exactly what you do. Everyone shut up, I thought of the exact plan. Jessica Eye versus Cynthia Calvillo. The winner of that fight takes on the winner of Caitlin Chookagian versus the winner of Lauren Murphy versus Roxanne Modafferi. Hopefully it's Roxanne Modafferi. And then we'll have a fight after all of those guys fight each other. Set up some kind of flyweight tournament. Keep Shevchenko busy with a Chookagian sacrifice just to clog up the gears for now, slow things down, buy us enough time. We're basically just throwing Chookagian to the wolves just to keep them distracted and keep them full for longer rather than them go hungry again. Shevchenko at the start of 2021 will hopefully come back to a legit contender in her division that we've managed to build hype around. And I'll tell you this, as much as I'm shitting on this as a main event, once the event is over, we're going to be happy that it wasn't so stacked. I guarantee you, because when these cards aren't stacked, there's no one to draw the attention from the young prospects. There's no big name that everyone's focusing on, and there's no people that are watching that don't even care about the rest of the fighters and are only watching for that one big name. This is a card where a lot of people don't know the people on the card right now. The casuals will not know the people on the card right now, but after the card, a lot of people are going to know who they are, and it's going to give them a boost in popularity just by natural osmosis. Jessica Eye versus Cynthia Calvillo winner, especially if it's Cynthia Calvillo, is going to be a big name after this, regardless of what people think about the main event going forwards. And honestly, if people are complaining about not being interested in Shevchenko's fights, if people are complaining about that, this is the counter. This is what you get. Main events in title fights, in title elimination bouts at the top of the flyweight division. It builds interest for a Shevchenko fight rather than her just taking on Frank Camacho. What the fuck is that girl's name? Liz Carmouche. This division is so unrecognizable. Liz Carmouche, the rematch, no one even fucking knew how Liz Carmouche got the title shot. No one coming into that fight could probably tell you who Liz Carmouche beat before getting a title shot against Shevchenko. So at least we're going to know. That's the only positive I can find from this. At least it's in the spotlight. It's just a shit main event. I don't know how I've made this 13 minutes. I haven't even checked the time this entire video. I don't know how I spoke about this for 13 minutes. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Click that button there. Goodbye. Jessica Eye, 5th round decision, 50-45. Every round. Slightly outstriking Cynthia Calvillo, but we're rooting for Calvillo because we need some new blood. Goodbye.